Why is it that Henry Cavill is no longer Superman? I know that is a big question that a lot of people have, and most people actually have it wrong on what exactly happened. You have people who sit there and say James Gunn fired Henry Cavill. You have people who sit there and say that Warner Brothers screwed over Henry Cavill. But here's the thing, neither of those are really completely true. Let's take a look at it on what truly happened. We do know that after 2017's Justice League, or Justice League as a lot of people like to call it, there was some animosity between Henry Cavill and the studio. They were trying to work out a new deal to where Henry would be a big part of the DCEU moving forward. However, right after Justice League, we had new ownership takeover with AT&T taking over, and things kind of were all out of sorts. They weren't exactly sure where they were going or how they were going to do things, and it took them a little while to figure that out. But while they were doing that, Walter Hamada came in, and he started running things and really trying to find a way to guide the ship for the DCEU. We all know, and it's no secret, that Walter Hamada wasn't willing to play ball with Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill was playing difficult with contract negotiations, as was Warner Brothers. They had reason to. While people did like Henry Cavill as Superman, he wasn't exactly a successful character in that role financially. And whether you want to believe it or not, that is an issue for the studio moving forward. So they were trying to figure out what is the best way forward when Henry Cavill's asking for so much more money, a lot more input. Was it worth it for them? The problem is Walter Hamada didn't want to scratch everything and start fresh. He wanted to kind of connect things loosely to what came before. That is until the Flash movie, where he was going to reestablish the DCEU. Well, we all know that eventually Warner Brothers Discovery came over and took charge of Warner Brothers, becoming Warner Brothers Discovery. And during that time, David Zaslav, you had DeLuca and Abney, they were all kind of involved in trying to guide the ship that was the DCEU at the time. But David Zaslav was very adamant about finding somebody to head a DC Studios, and his search went on for quite some time. But during all of this, there were other movies coming out. You had Black Adam coming soon, you had Shazam 2 coming soon, and there was just this, sense in the air that the fans wanted Cavill back. And Dwayne Johnson knew that. Dwayne Johnson understood that. Dwayne Johnson wasn't in charge. He was able to work with Abney and DeLuca in getting Cavill to come back for one more cameo, his last appearance on his old contract for the Black Adam film. They also paid him without a contract for a Flash cameo and a cameo in the upcoming Aquaman 2. This was all to set up that he is still the Superman in the DCEU. However, Black Adam failed. And because of that, because Abney, DeLuca, The Rock, they were so heavily involved with what was going on with the DCEU at the time, and David Zaslav sees that it's a failure, he decides to hire Peter Safran and James Gunn. Now, let's take a step back and take a look at the past. Let's take a look at 6 or 7 months prior. Basically, what happened was, under Walter Hamada, Hamada was looking for somebody to write a new Superman movie. And he reached out to James Gunn, who had done a relatively successful film in The Suicide Squad. And he requested and asked, hey, would you mind writing a script? And at that time, James Gunn had an idea for a script, so he started writing the script. But over here with Abney, DeLuca, and Dwayne Johnson, who were trying to muscle control of the DCEU at Warner Brothers, they started working with Cavill and some writers on a potential Man of Steel 2. They were also very adamant in allowing Cavill to say, hey, I'm back, but that was all to push Black Adam, to help Black Adam's numbers. So when all of this occurred, fans got excited. However, they didn't go see the film. yes, I know it's a 5-10 second cameo, nothing that you should be writing home about, but it wasn't just that. It was the backlash on social media, the backlash by the fans. This is not my Superman. This is not the Superman I want. Where is the Hans Zimmer score? Why is he not wearing the black suit? And there was a lot of pushback. What is a studio to do? They gave us what we wanted in Henry Cavill Superman, but not my Superman, everyone says. So David Zaslav, he sees all of this. He hears all of this. He realizes that Black Adam didn't make money. This old DCEU just doesn't look like it's going to be successful for Warner Brothers long term. Because let's face it, no matter what you think, had The Rock, Abney, and DeLuca taken over DC, we would not be getting the Snyderverse as we all wanted. Maybe down the line, but not now. And you would not be getting the Superman you all claim to want still. So, Zaslav hires Safran. Safran brings in James Gunn. James Gunn just so happens to have been working on a Superman script for the past how many months because of Walter Hamada. Yes, we were told about a script that was being written for Henry Cavill. Yes, Henry Cavill came out on social media and said, I am back. He was told by DeLuca, Abney, who are producers at Warner Brothers, to announce that you are back to help promote Black Adam, but also get people excited for the future. Henry Cavill's management supports him and encourages him to go forward with it, even without a contract. Gunn and Safran get hired. They decide to go a different direction. And not Henry Cavill. It's not Henry Cavill's fault. It's not even James Gunn or Peter Safran's fault. Yeah, sure, social media outlets for Warner Brothers were welcoming Henry Cavill back as Superman. Here's the thing, it's not like David Zaslav or DeLuca or Abney or Dwayne Johnson even run those social medias. No. The people who run those are 20-year-old kids trying to make it in the industry. They're the ones who are sitting there and they see, oh, Henry Cavill posted this. Let's welcome him back. People want to believe so badly, they want to twist this narrative so badly, that James Gunn fired Henry Cavill, that James Gunn screwed over Henry Cavill. All parties involved were in the wrong in some form or fashion, with the exception of James Gunn and Peter Safran. Prior to them is when all of this shit happened. You have Henry Cavill and Warner Brothers in the past not being able to come to an agreement on a new deal. You have Walter Hamada, who tries to find a way to write him out, hires James Gunn to write a new Superman movie. You have Dwayne Johnson, DeLuca, Abney trying to muscle their way into controlling the DC universe within Warner Brothers. When they weren't given the go-ahead. They weren't hired to run DC. So when Zaslav hires Gunn and hires Safran, yes, they're going to do what's best for the brand, what their boss, David Zaslav, has requested that they do. It's unfortunate. Cavill was a great Superman, but he doesn't fit the iteration that they want to go with now. It's not that he's a bad actor. It's not that he's not capable of being Superman. It's not that he isn't the greatest Superman to have played the role to this point. It's that he doesn't fit the new iteration going forward. So stop trying to twist this narrative. Stop trying to facilitate hate and anger and toxicity towards a studio that really doesn't deserve it, nor do fans. Thank you so much for listening, watching. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're just 121 away from 2,000. I'll talk at all of you later.